Hey everyone, Inspired Robyn here, coming to you poolside. It's the only sunny spot in our garden at the moment, and I'm needing some vitamin D. Here we are today talking about the wellness lifestyle, and the reason for this topic is because yesterday I told you in my video, if you were on or you viewed the recording, that I was offline a bit because my computer was upgrading. And so I took my little book and sat in the car at school run, which is where I would be right now, but it's Craig's day today to go pick up our daughter. So I sat down and I wrote out my little social media marketing plan and blog plan. So I've made topic days for each day of the week. So hopefully that'll work out pretty good. So Tuesday it is today for me here in Australia, and those of you in other parts, it's probably still Monday evening or going into the middle of the night, Tuesday. If you're in the UK or South Africa even, you're probably waking up bright and early on Tuesday morning. So, hello. And so Tuesday is my wellness, inspired wellness day. So I'll talk topics and post topics all to do with wellness, which is something close to my heart. As some of you may or may not know, back in December of 2007, November-December, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which is a chronic illness of the nervous system. At the time, I was working in a fitness club, and I was jogging on a treadmill that morning, I think, or during my lunch break. And that night, I was at home in bed, and my legs went numb, and I was reading a book. And it was probably a self-help book of some sort, or Harry Potter, one of the two. And I kept jumping out of bed and jumping on the floor. And, you know, when your foot goes to sleep kind of thing, trying to get it to wake up, and it just wouldn't wake up. And I got a bit concerned. I remember the next day I was on the phone to the doctors, and I couldn't get an appointment with my usual GP. He was away sick. And I was actually quite upset. I wasn't sure what was going on. My legs were still tingly and I couldn't feel them properly, like they weren't waking up. And it's become a new normal for me to have that feeling. I only feel it really, I notice it when I think about it, like I am right now, because I'm talking about that feeling. For me, my MS is a lot of sensory issues and also numbness and tingling and that kind of thing. And so, I went to a different doctor, and he straight away said to me, well, it's either going to be a diagnosis of MS or it's going to be possibly a tumour on the spine. I'm going to send you for an MRI. So I went along and had an MRI, and it was just the waiting game of getting the results. And when they came through, the MRI machine was broken that day, so it dragged the whole diagnosis thing out a bit. And then I eventually had it, and then got the results and was told that it was textbook MS. The lesions on my brain and my spine were typical of those diagnosed with relapsing, remitting MS. I'd been dealing with health conditions for quite some time, and it was actually kind of a relief to have answers for that and to know why I was having fatigue, why I suffered a lot of depression and anxiety, things like that, all kind of made sense. And I had a few other issues with, I suppose it's a bit personal. I won't talk about it. But, if you've got MS, you may know some of the other symptoms that we can have. But it led me on a journey. So the last decade after being diagnosed, so this is my 10-year anniversary of being diagnosed with MS, I have gone through a wave. So when you're diagnosed, it's kind of like, whoa, shock. You go through that wave of crying and the life changes that happen. And also just coming to terms with things not being the same. Like I was working in a fitness club and I was doing boxing and, high impact stuff, and all of a sudden I'm told that you're going to have heat intolerance and you're going to do this and that and you won't be able to do that anymore and that kind of thing. And it was kind of crushing, given that I was getting fit and it was the first time in my life that I was fit. If anyone's just come online, do say hello. It'd be cool to see and acknowledge you. So just playing around with this. Anyway, so where was I at? I was talking about my diagnosis of MS. So the last decade I've spent pretty much, goodness me, and I just typed the, just testing to see if the chat feature's working. I've pretty much been sent on a bit of a journey with coming to terms with it. The journey of going through the medication route, learning to inject yourself with steroids to help you, stay well. Hey Susan, nice to see you. Thank you for saying hello. And also, just that decision to whether to start a family, and all that kind of thing, it all came into play. And just over the last 10 years, led down one road of deciding to get into entrepreneurship and work for myself from home. The reason that I decided to do that was basically because I didn't want to go back to the workforce. I was in the customer service kind of thing. I was working in a gym when I was diagnosed with MS, but I left jobs and went and worked in a desk job at Toyota, just because I couldn't confront that whole, seeing people running up and down stairs and doing heavy weights and, running around in the gym and doing all this awesome stuff that I was told that I wouldn't be able to do anymore. And so I went and worked at Toyota in customer services export analyst. So, and then we decided to go around the world and have a bit of a holiday, Craig and I, 10 weeks travelling, because you just don't know whether, with a disease like MS, whether you're going to be able to walk tomorrow or things like that. You kind of have this doom and gloom view in the beginning time anyway. That's how it was for me. And so I worked there, and then we decided after our 10-week vacation unpaid vacation around the United States and over to Germany and then over to South Africa, where Craig's from, came home and decided, we'll have a family. So, I went off my medications and had a baby in 2010. And after that, I was at an MS walk and I bumped into a girl who'd had this treatment called CCSVI, which was opening up the jugular vein and improving the blood flow out of the brain. And it actually worked really well for me. In 2011, I had my first procedure, and that was the starting point of me getting into a more natural approach with my wellness. So I had that a few times, that procedure, because it was always needing to be redone. It kept reclosing up on the left side. The right side, thankfully, has stayed all right, but the left side of my jugular veins has not. I can talk about CCSVI in another podcast or chat one day if you are interested. So pop a comment in or send me a message if you want to learn more about what that is, and I'll get into that another time. But it's just kind of like the beginnings of my wellness journey in a summary. And so, where was I? Yeah, CCSVI. That was 2011, that journey began. And by the time my daughter was 3 in 2013, I was looking to work from home. It just wasn't cutting it for me having we only had the one income. And I guess I was probably wanting something more in my life as well than motherhood. I was feeling a little bit stuck. And so I started a party plan business. And then literally a couple of weeks later, because I had been looking for something to do from home, I found a personal development business, or it found me. And that's the next catalyst for the next phase of my wellness journey, which pretty much was about diet and lifestyle and that kind of thing. I mean, I dabbled in doing some meditation, and I dabbled in Qigong, which is like a Chinese it's kind of like Tai Chi meditation. You breathe and you move with the breath, and it's really quite relaxing. And I did that for a little bit. In that time, I'd put on a bit of weight since I was diagnosed and before having a baby. And I'd gone on a couple of transformation challenges, but there were still some challenges in my headspace when it came to my healing and feeling good. I was battling quite a bit with anxiety and depression. And so finding this personal development business was a bit of a lifesaver in some respects. I didn't realise it at the time fully. I'd been a subscriber to a lot of self-help books and things like that, but never really applied anything that I read until I made it my business to apply it, which is quite interesting. So since I started 4 years ago with the personal development business, I've really made a lot of changes to my lifestyle, and that's what I want to blog about in my new blog that I'm currently constructing right now. And yeah, I'll video blog about these kind of things every Tuesday from this day forward. I'll pick a topic and really delve into that. So if you are watching this either live or on the recording and you are interested in the wellness side of my inspiration, so Inspired Wellness, if you are one of my followers and you have MS or another chronic illness or an illness of some description and you're looking for inspiration in your healing journey with that, then yeah, come here every Tuesday and we'll talk about something. Message me, pop comments in, give me some hints and tips as to things that you might want to learn about from me. But certainly mindset has been a massive game changer in me getting in the headspace to actually make the physical changes to my lifestyle. So I think you might remember, if you were here in the beginning of the conversation, I was talking about when I was diagnosed in 2007 and I was working at a fitness club, that I was told that I wouldn't be able to do the really hard, full-on, high-impact stuff at the gym anymore, and that I was going to have heat intolerance. And I believed a lot of that for a long time. And in some ways, I think that CCSVI actually changed me a little bit, and it made me more cold intolerant. So it was the opposite. And so then I've found it a lot easier to be in the warmth. I'm a bit of a reptile. That's why I'm sitting here in the sun by my pool, in the only little piece of sun that we have at the moment, to keep warm. It's going into winter here, even though I'm in Queensland, and it's been a bit of a chilly day today compared to others. So for me, I need the sun. I need to feel warmth. Otherwise I get all numb and I can't feel stuff. So the whole mindset thing around just not making it a thing, like you can be told stuff and then your mind plays tricks and you think because someone said that this is how it is, then this is how it's going to be. But at the end of the day, it's pretty much, it's what you're thinking about. Like if you think it's going to be, it's really kind of hard to explain without experiencing it. But I've noticed, yeah, I do get, sometimes if it's massively hot and it's been hot for days and days and days and days and days, then I do feel yuck, but who doesn't? But I haven't had so much of a problem with heat for me since thinking about that differently. And yes, so I've gone on the dietary lifestyle thing. So I've moved from down in Melbourne to Sunshine Coast, Queensland, where I can get more vitamin D and sun, and it really supports my health and wellness. And I've also changed my diet dramatically since 2015. And through this business and, you know, marketing my business to people with MS at one point, I was talking to a few people, interviewing them, and I actually met someone who had done the Overcoming MS retreat. And ironically, I was given the book Overcoming MS when I was diagnosed with MS. And I read the first couple of pages and then put it down in a drawer, and I couldn't face it. But just talking to her, I got inspired. Oh, that book, I've still got that book somewhere. So I went and found it and I read it and I booked the retreat that week. That's the kind of thing that I wouldn't do. I would not spend a couple of $1,000s to go to a week retreat just to learn about what to eat and, you know, work on my lifestyle like that. But I read this book, I booked it. It's just totally shifted the way that I look at spending money and investing in myself and investing in my health. And health is wellness and wealth for me. I don't know about you. Does anyone else online agree? There is nothing more valuable than, especially when you've been sick or you experience illness, there's nothing more valuable or nothing that, is worth more than your health. And I make it a real point now to, if I think that something's really going to help me to heal or to live better, then I'm going to invest in myself and go for it. And that, I'm going to talk about that in another video, the Overcoming MS retreat, and what that did for me. It was just extraordinary. And I thank, if you're watching, the girl that, or if you see this video, the girl that I spoke to, you know who you are, then I am so grateful for that conversation we had and for that decision that I made that day to go to that retreat, because that has been, next to starting this business, has been the biggest game changer for me. And I am so grateful for that. So anyone got any questions? Thank you so much, Susan, for joining me and for saying hello and sending me a kiss right back at you. And that's pretty much all I want to talk about today. So it was a bit of waffle, but I will pop that into a blog once my blog is set up, a little bit of an introduction as to, why wellness for me personally is inspiring. Like, inspired wellness is a big thing for me. Tomorrow's topic is, I always market the Mind Power podcast. So on a Wednesday, I'll put something to do with Mind Power. They're not doing live podcasts at the moment. So we'll be sharing some stuff from the archives over the next month or so until the next round starts. Starting to get windy, so I hope you're not hearing all that. There's a bit of a breeze blowing. So that's going to be Wednesday's topic. And then we'll have Thursdays will be a bit of a follow-up on whatever was discussed on that Mind Power. So I've got a topic in my blog called Inspired Inspirers. So it's all about people who inspire me and things that I listen to that inspire me. So I'll be sharing those links and commenting on stuff that I've been inspired by on a Thursday. And so that's pretty much going to be it for now. I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you're watching the recording, then and you do want to connect with me, these will get better with practice, these live streams. So you can subscribe to get notifications of live streams as they happen. So you'll see a little box at the top of the video and it'll say subscribe to Inspired Robyn's live stream and be notified when I'm online. So that'd be cool. If you do get value out of what I talk about, or you want to hear when I'm online, then certainly click on there and get notified when I'm coming online. And also I've got a link to my website on this post as well. So if anyone's interested in working with me, there's my link. inspiremothers.com is the current link. As I said, I'm working on a new blog, so that will be coming out as soon as I've got it all configured and ready to launch. So stay tuned for that one. That will include video links to these videos and also blog posts and other things to inspire you, because we're all about inspiring. And if you've got an inspiring story, or you want to tell me someone who inspires you in the wellness line, or anything to do with lifestyle or mindset, personal development, then pop me a line and let me know, because you may be featured in my Inspired Inspirers section of my blog. So I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining me again, and I will speak to you again. See you later.